Good morning, Facebook. Good morning, everybody. June Allen here, your racial sobriety mentor at juneallen.net. So I hope everybody's okay. Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday. So today's topic, we're going to be talking about unity in the community, how to get more unity in the community. Okay, but before I do that, I am going to, just for those of you that don't know anything about me, I'm going to share a little bit about what I do. So I am the founder of The Art of Greatness at juneallen.net, and I teach African-centered self-love, sisterhood and sobriety. I came into doing this work, started my own personal journey back in 2009, and I went into 12-step recovery for addictive relationships. Okay, addiction is not just about drinking drugs, it's also about being compulsive, about being in relationships that are not good for you, and that was my story. So I went into 12-step recovery to address those issues. Had an amazing time. Hi, thanks for joining. Had an amazing time. Learned a lot about myself, but what was missing was the cultural context. I didn't understand how being a black woman played a role in all of this stuff. I knew there was something that I needed to explore around it, but I didn't understand. I didn't have the language. I didn't understand how to actually do it. So I just became obsessed with reading, trying to figure stuff out, researching, trying to find out what was what was going on with it. And then that was kind of what prompted me to begin my training as a psychotherapist. So I'm a student psychotherapist as well. And as soon as I started doing this research and everything, just all of the light bulbs just started popping off. I really started to understand what was going on with me, why I behaved the way I behaved, why I felt certain ways about myself, why I've had so much self-hate, and I began to understand how racism had a massive impact on this healing process. And throughout the process, I also learned tools, I learned strategies as how to deal with that, how to rebuild my confidence, how to find myself. Hi, thanks for joining. And it was a really phenomenal process. And then as I started to find out more and heal myself, I started sharing a lot more of it more publicly about 4 or 5 years ago. And this is how I ended up building this platform. Started sharing a lot more openly, and people started to relate. People started to understand what I was saying. People were coming to me saying, this is the piece that was missing for them, the cultural context. There's a lot of people out there that are doing a lot of stuff around self-care, self-love, all of that kind of stuff. But there's not a lot of people that are actually knitting the two together so they get the cultural context. And so the healing process, the tools, all of that kind of stuff has a cultural focus. And that is why a lot of people choose to come and work with me. So really, really excited, really blessed. I absolutely love what I do. And I'm excited about teaching. I'm excited about learning. I'm still growing. I'm still going through the process myself. It's not a destination. It's something that I really enjoy doing. So for those of you that have excuse me, for those of you that have been on the ride with me so far, thank you so much for allowing me to be part of your process. And if you're new, welcome to the sisterhood. Welcome to the Art of Greatness. Okay, so that's a little bit about me. And let me just give you a little bit of housekeeping before I get into today's content. Okay, so the first thing is that this weekend, this Saturday, I have my book club in the mastermind this weekend. So I have a mastermind called Sacred Sister Sanctuary. Okay, and every other week we do a chapter study from a book. So we've been doing this book for the last, probably 8-10 months, and it's been absolutely phenomenal. But we don't just read the book and go home. I pull questions out of it. I pull heart work out of it. I do live streams on it. I do masterclasses on whatever the topic is for that particular chapter. And basically the ladies in the group, they have an opportunity to share. So we have sister sharing time. I do heart work as well. So when the session is finished, I forward them journal prompts and affirmations and all of that kind of stuff so that they can really indulge and really absorb the topics from a healing perspective, from a solution-focused perspective. Okay, so we're doing this one, and the chapter that we're doing this Saturday is called... it's all about love, loss and choosing life. Okay, so we're talking about racial grief this week. We're talking about racial grief. And with everything that's going on in the world at the moment, with so much black death, sadness, anger, all of that kind of stuff, a lot of us are kind of suppressing a lot of grief. a lot of us are suppressing a lot of grief. So this Saturday's class is really, really important, and you know, everyone in the group will have an opportunity to understand what racial grief is and have an opportunity to process it, and to just be in touch with themselves around what's going on for them. How do they respond to all of this stuff that's been going on that is really quite traumatic for a lot of us. Okay, so if you're interested in joining us for this Saturday's book club in the Sacred Sister Sanctuary, you can click the link in the bio, go to heal.juneallen.net. That's heal.juneallen.net. That's heal.juneallen.net. Okay, so that is the book club. The other piece of housekeeping that I have is that I've, you know, over the last few weeks, especially with all of the stuff that's going on, I've actually gained quite a lot of new followers. So hi, if you haven't, if you've not really seen me do live before, or if you're new to my page. But I'm going to be doing a masterclass called An Introduction to African-Centered Wellness. Okay, an introduction to African-Centered Wellness. So if you're new to this journey, or if you're new to the specific stuff around the cultural context, this masterclass is going to be held on the Thursday, the 30th of July. Okay, I'm going to finish up the details and everything, so you'll be able to register on whatever this weekend, but I just thought I'd let you know that that's going to be happening. So it's going to be happening in a couple of weeks' time. So yeah, just stay tuned for that. If you haven't already clicked the notifications, click the button to be notified when I'm going live, so I can obviously let you know what's going on. Then do so if you haven't done that already. Okay, so that is the introduction. Sorry, the introduction to African-Centered Wellness, happening on the Thursday, the 30th of July, 7 p.m. London time. Okay, so that is the housekeeping. So for those of you that have just joined, my name is June Allen, and I'm the founder of the Art of Greatness at juneallen.net, and I teach African-centered self-love, sisterhood and sobriety. And today's topic, I'm going to be talking about how to have more unity in our community. Okay, how to have more unity in our community. So today's live stream was kind of prompted by a post that I saw on my live stream, you know, and I see a lot of black people talking about, oh, you know, we need to come together, we need more unity, we need to be a village, you know, all of these things is very African centered for us. Concept, the whole idea of working as a village, is working as a team, of coming together and all of that kind of stuff. But the thing that we have to remember about that is that, you know, a lot of us are broken. A lot of us, you know, have not done our own healing work. And the first thing that you need to do, if you want to have more unity in the community, you've got to do your own work. You can't have unity in the community without personal responsibility. Okay, let me say that again for the people in the back. You cannot have unity in the community without personal responsibility. You need to ask yourself the questions: are you doing your own inner work? And what does that look like? Inner work looks like, you know, looking at your own behaviours, okay? Looking at your own behaviours, looking at your family patterns, looking at how the impact of racism impacts how you show up in the world, how you show up in your relationships. Now, whether you choose to do that with a therapist, or whether you choose to do that in a recovery meeting, whether you choose to do that in a support group, whether you choose to do it in my mastermind, as long as you're doing something that is part of that process, that is what doing the inner work means. And if you're not doing the inner work yourself, then you're not going to be able to contribute to the community. You can't have one without the other. So if you're really passionate about the community coming together, you want there to be more unity, you want to feel more safe and whatever in your community, you've got to do the inner work yourself, because the community is not going to happen unless you're doing the work. And I think sometimes you can use that unity conversation as a way to avoid doing the inner work. We're ready to jump down, you know, oh, the community's always doing this, the community's always doing that, the community's always saying this, we're crabs in a barrel. We're having all of those conversations about what the community's doing, but you're not having that conversation with yourself about what you're doing personally. And so the community conversation then becomes an avoidance tactic. It becomes a way to absolve yourself of the responsibility of doing your own work, and it don't work like that. So next time you start having conversations around you know, what the community is doing, ask yourself, what are you doing personally to resolve that? What are you doing at a one-on-one level, okay, with yourself? How are you taking care of yourself? How are you taking care of your trauma? How are you dealing with your grief? You know, and this is what a lot of the ladies do in the group. I mean, obviously we have our sisterhood village, okay, in the mastermind, but everybody is, the reason why it works so well and why the ladies keep coming back is because they're all doing their own internal work. They're taking responsibility for themselves. Before there's a we, there has to be an I. There can be no we unless you're doing I. Okay, it has to be I first before it can be we. Okay, it has to be I first. I'm doing this. I'm healing by doing that. I'm saying this. I feel that. I'm affected by X. I need to do Y. When I feel angry, I do X. When I do this, you've got to be having those conversations. You've got to be going through that process yourself before you can even think about thinking that you can do anything in the community. It's got to start with you. And if it ain't starting with you, then you need to start. You need to start, you know, and you start by looking for by first of all having the conversation with yourself. Okay, and owning that actually I'm not doing anything, or maybe I'm doing X, Y, Z, and I should be doing A, B, C. But you've got to first have those conversations with yourself before you can start having a conversation about community. Okay, so do your inner work first. That's number one. Number two, actually, the other thing that I would just quickly say actually is if you don't know where to start, okay, and you just feel overwhelmed by everything, you know that you need to start, but you just don't know where to begin. You haven't got a clue where to start. I've just actually recently launched in my mastermind a roadmap. Okay, so it's a step-by-step guide where I hold your hand through that particular beginning process. So I help you set up your Sacred Sister Time. I help you understand what Sacred Sister Time is. And basically what that is that it's a date with yourself that you have every day. This is your solitude time. This is your self-exploration time. Your time to self-reflect. Your time to understand your feelings and all of that kind of stuff. All of that stuff is in what I've created in the sanctuary called a roadmap, okay, a wellness roadmap. So you go in there, and I'm adding stuff to it every week. I'm adding new stuff to it every week. So anybody that's new to this, or maybe you've been doing this work for a long time, but you just feels a bit all over the place, or maybe you're not consistent. Okay, if any of this is making sense, the roadmap is the perfect way for you to begin doing this process. So if you're interested in joining the Sister Circle, the Sacred, sorry, I lost my speak. I can't even speak. The Sacred Sister Sanctuary, okay, go to heal.juneallen.net. That's heal.juneallen.net. That's heal.juneallen.net, okay? So that's number one. Do your inner work first, okay? Number two is check your circle, okay? Check your circle, all right? So J-Nex is saying, I am overwhelmed since I've come back to work. Do you know what? I've had quite a few ladies in the circle saying the same thing. The anxiety around, oh my God, I can't believe like I was dealing with this. I think being in lockdown for all of that time has given people the opportunity to think about how it is at work, whether the work is not you know, how dysfunctional work is, or how uncomfortable you feel at work, or how, you know, how you've had to change yourself, or dumb yourself down, or you've had to code switch, you know, which is kind of like a, you know, it's kind of like our kind of, it's our cultural term for codependency, basically. The people pleasing, the kind of thinking that you have to speak a certain way, do a certain thing, you know, to kind of assimilate into the work environment, you know, and it's exhausting doing that. It's exhausting doing that, J-Mex. So I totally understand, you know, I totally understand. And this is why having a circle, okay, having a circle that feels safe for you is important, okay? You need to check your circle. Katrina's saying, yes, you suddenly feel exposed as a black person and you feel you are having to explain our experience. Exactly. And that is so tiring. It's so tiring, especially when you're the only black face. It's painful. It's painful. So Katrina's also saying, for me, I feel tired that this is expected of me. I've told them to do their own. Exactly. People need to do their own. You need to do that. This is the most important thing about this unity conversation. You've got to do your own work. You've got to do your own work, and this is where checking your own circle is important, because when you have your own circle, then you know that you've got a space where you can go back to. You can talk about your experience. You know that you're going to be able to identify with other people, and other people are going to be able to hold you through that experience. There's that saying that says, you know, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. if you're the smartest person, or in this case, if you're the most healthiest person emotionally in your circle, you're in the wrong circle. And it doesn't mean that you don't love those people. It doesn't mean that you think that you're better than those people. It just means that you're not getting nurtured. And that's a recipe for resentment. If you're in a circle of people that are always drawing from you, okay, that are always drawing from you, but they're not nurturing you, then that is a recipe for resentment. I had a conversation with a therapist friend of mine a couple of weeks ago, and he gave me an analogy about something which I thought was absolutely perfect. And he was saying that sometimes when you're in a growth period, and you realise that other people around you are not necessarily healthy, or they're not at the same stage that you're at, not necessarily that you're better, that you're just different stages. It's almost like breastfeeding cannibals. Okay, it's almost like breastfeeding cannibals, because you end up serving people that are just they're not appreciative, or they don't understand. They just keep drawing from you, and what it is they're so deprived. They've had a life that's been so deprived that they're just running around, and they're just basically sucking the life out of people, because they're trying to get their own nourishment, but they don't realise that they're actually hurting the person that they're doing that to. And that's where you have to set boundaries. And so the whole concept of breastfeeding cannibals, for me, was such a perfect analogy. Because I found myself in those situations where I'm with people that that are just so deprived that all they can do is kind of suck the blood out of you, suck the energy out of you, okay? But they don't yet know how to nurture. They don't have those boundaries in place yet. They don't have that respect yet, because they're so deprived, and they're just trying to draw all of this stuff out of you. Okay, so Katrina's saying, I want to add that we need spiritual nourishment and upliftment now. I have been seeing my therapist more, and I'm glad I have a prospective business model. You know what, Katrina, that is just so brilliant that you're doing that. And I think, you have to realise, this is why it's important to understand what your needs are, especially from a business perspective. I've been getting more support as well, because with everything that's been going on with this Black Lives Matter thing and all the rest of it, black businesses are being called on even more, because a lot more people are afraid. A lot more people need support. My inbox has been crazy over the last 3 months, because people are now beginning to understand that they can't, if they were in denial about this stuff before, they can't be in denial about it anymore. Okay, if people were in denial about this stuff before, about the cultural nourishment, the racial wellness, all that, you cannot be in denial about it anymore. And so people really need this. And so I've had to really look at how my needs are going to change, because at the end of the day, if I'm not taking care of myself, I can't support anybody else. If I'm not taking care of myself, I can't support my community. So, I've had days, and also because I lost my dad as well in the week before lockdown, but I've got a great therapist. So I've been seeing my therapist regularly. I have another network of people in recovery who I've been connecting with, and all of that kind of stuff. So I've just upped my own self-care. And next week I'm going to start my yoga class. I'm so happy. I'm starting my yoga back. Yoga is opening again, so I'm going to start doing it, because that body work is really important for my anxiety. So it's about you understanding, what your needs are, and also being really clear that your circle is going to nourish you as well as you nourishing them. It has to be reciprocal. Okay? And if your circle is not giving you what you need, maybe they're not doing the work, maybe they don't want to do the work, that's okay. But if it's not what's nourishing you, then you need to start looking somewhere else. You need to start looking for a circle that is going to nourish you, that is going to educate you, that is going to nourish you, that is going to help you, that is going to empower you, that's going to champion you, that's going to cheer you on when you're doing this stuff. Not people that are going to get upset. Or you sometimes feel like you feel like you're having to compete. I've seen that in a few groups as well at the moment. People that are trying to elevate themselves and grow, but they can't, because their friends are not doing the work. Jane X is saying, does this make sense? My best friends aren't used to speaking up, and they said I've changed since Black Lives Matter came back. I really feel I was a token black friend. She won't get it. I'm hearing a lot of that as well. Is what this has done is actually really given you permission to really look at your circle, So, okay, right. So your friends are not used. Your friends are not used to speaking up. What I'm hearing you say, Jay, next is that your friends are not used to speaking up, and because you're speaking up, your friends don't get it, or they think that maybe you're being too black or whatever it is. This is when you begin to understand that maybe some people just aren't ready to do this work. Not everybody can do. Not everybody wants to do this work. Don't assume that every black person wants to do this work. Some of them can't do this work because it takes courage to do it. It takes guts to do this work. And it doesn't mean that your friends are wrong or whatever for not doing it, but it just means that your needs are different. You need something else. You need to be nourished. And this is one of the things that the ladies in my group have said that it's been so powerful for them in being able to speak up, because they know that every week they come into the sister circle, the healing circle, the book club, whatever's going on that particular week. They know they're going to have a safe space to be able to speak their truth. They know that they're going to be heard. They know that the people are going to understand, that other sisters are going to understand, and that they can speak their truth without being judged, without being shamed, without being put down, without there being any competition, because we're all doing the same work. We're all doing the same work. And so this is why it's so crucial, and this is what I'm saying about the unity in the community, okay, and doing your own work first. You've got to do your own work. You've really got to do your own work. So Katrina's saying, I'm purposefully sharing the injustices so that it isn't coming from me. Right. Again, when you do your own work, okay, and then you start sharing it with other people. You're welcome, Jonex. I'm glad that really helped. Then that's when that's when you're doing service now. And this is number 3. The third thing to have unity in the community is doing service. Okay, sometimes doing service in the community means that you just do your own work because you're not at that stage yet to be giving back to the community, because you need to be nourished first. You need to fill your cup first. So sometimes doing service means that you're not doing stuff for other people, that you're saying, no, I'm doing stuff for myself. Okay, that's sometimes what service means. When you've been down the road a little while and you've done a little bit of work, the service actually comes out in how you share with other people, how you interact with other people. So, Katrina, you're saying that you're sharing the injustices now, okay? That is a form of service. Hi, Angie, thanks for joining. That's a form of service, sharing your truth. What I'm doing now, a lot of the free content that I give out, that's service. Okay, I'm serving the community because I'm giving away loads of free content, because I understand that maybe not everybody is ready to kind of jump in and be part of my mastermind or buy one of my classes or to have a one-to-one with me. I'm trying to get the message out. So for me, the first thing to do is to talk about it, to let people understand that this exists, that there is such thing as racial wellness, cultural nourishment, that there is such thing as African-centered, Pan-African self-care. There is such a thing, okay? But I know that I need to talk about it because a lot of people don't really understand it. And the fact that I've been in recovery since 2009, the fact that I've been in therapy the same amount of time, that's 10 years worth of therapy, the fact that I'm training to become a psychotherapist as well, okay? These are all things that are not typical in the community, okay? So what I do is I take what I've learned over those 10 years and I translate it to make it culturally relevant for us as a community, and then I share it. That's service. Okay? So I'm trying to nurture unity in the community now, because I've done the work myself. I'm continuing to do the work. It's not no destination that I've just, I'm healed now and I can start, sharing my stuff. I've shared the journey. I've shared my journey, and I think that's why a lot of people identify with what I'm saying. I share my challenges, I share my upset, I share my fears, I share my vulnerability, I share difficult things, I share parenting, I share loads of different things, because I don't want to teach this stuff from a position of, I'm on my therapist high horse and that's not it. I share this stuff because I want the community to understand, number 1, that there's a solution, and number 2, you're not by yourself, and 3, that you can do the work. These platforms are available for us to do this work, but you just have to be willing to do it. And it just helps people not feel powerless and not feel like they're by themselves. I hear a lot from sisters that are doing this inner work, that a lot of them are doing it by themselves. Number 1, because they don't know anything stuff like this exists, that they have an opportunity to have a sisterhood. Sometimes they feel traumatized and triggered by sister circles, because they haven't done, a lot of the women that are doing other circles or whatever, they're not doing they haven't done the therapy, they haven't done the recovery work or whatever, so they're not aware of their own triggers. They end up going in there and feeling triggered in those spaces, and women have told me that there's no boundaries in those spaces, so they don't feel safe. Okay, so this is something that I'm really, really big on in the mastermind that I run for the ladies, that they feel safe. Safety has to be first, okay? Before anything else, they have to feel safe, because there is no healing without safety. There is no healing without safety, and this is another conversation about unity in the community. That's one reason why there's no unity, because people don't feel safe. A lot of the ladies that I work with, okay, have, the reason why they've struggled to heal is because they've been hurt by people that look like them. Okay, what white people do externally is one thing, okay, but a lot of the ladies are trying to heal from trauma that they've experienced within their own families, trauma that they've experienced within their relationships with other black people, whether it's bullying, whether it's physical abuse, domestic abuse, you know, sexual abuse, whatever it is. These are the topics that they're trying to get over. These are the things that they're trying to heal from, and it's from people that look like them. So therefore, if you know, for me as a practitioner, as a trainee practitioner, as somebody that's done this work, I understand what it means to have those fears, because I've gone through those things. So now my responsibility is to make sure, is to keep that in mind when I'm working with people, when I'm sharing, to keep that in mind, that the people that I'm working with, that are doing this work, they need me to understand that and be compassionate to that. The fact that it's going to take it's going to take more time for people to trust me. It's going to take more time for people to feel safe, because of how they've felt, and because of the way they've been treated by people that look like them. And I think a lot of mentors, business owners, they don't take that into consideration, or they don't know how to deal with it, you know. And people are so quick to shame other black people, because they're like, oh, you know, they're not spending money, you know, they don't spend money in my business, or black people don't want to work with other people, other black people, or black people don't spend money with other, black people do spend money with other black people, but it's because they don't feel safe. Real talk. Okay, that's the reason why a lot of black people don't spend money or don't invest in other black businesses, because they don't feel safe with your business. That's what it is. So if you want more unity in the community, you have to do your own work. It goes back to what I was saying as the first one. You've got to do your own work, and you've got to, when you start to understand a lot of these things, okay, then you're going to have a different sort of sensitivity around how you manage your relationship with your clients. Okay, if there are any business owners, okay, that are watching this, that understand what I'm saying, or that want more support around this stuff, I do have a power hour, okay, where we can talk about this in a lot more detail. If you want more, you can pick my brain. Okay, so if you go to powerhour.juneallen.net, okay, that's powerhour.juneallen.net, that's powerhour.juneallen.net. we can talk about how I can support you in your business around doing this stuff. Okay, but those three are the main things. Okay, and don't patronize other businesses. Okay, if you're doing service, or you're supporting other black businesses, don't patronize them by just giving them money, even though the business is not up to scratch. The way that you can empower other businesses to grow and change is to be honest with them, not shaming them, but saying to them, look, bro, look, sis, you know, I'd love to spend some money with you. I'd like to support you. But the reason I'm not supporting you is because I don't feel, you know, comfortable around X, or maybe, you know, I'm not really sure about Y. I put a post up on my personal timeline the other day, and it's on my blog as well now, sharing the reasons why a lot of black people don't support black businesses, you know, and it's because they don't feel safe. It's because, you know, a lot of black businesses, I think a lot of us are in survival mode. Okay, a lot of us are in survival mode, and so Gloria, you want to know? Okay, so the link for the what you're talking about, the Power Hour, is powerhour.juneallen.net. Powerhour.juneallen.net. Yeah, so yeah, don't patronize the businesses. You know, it's about letting them know that you want to spend money with them, you want to support them, okay? But these are the sort of things that you need, okay? So I put up this post, and I was basically talking about how you know, a lot of people don't want to spend money with black businesses, and here are the things that I see. Here are the things that I see, okay, where the black businesses that are not being supported by the black community. And it's because people don't feel safe, people don't feel, I think what it is, I think a lot of black businesses are in survival mode, okay? When you're tired, when we're oppressed, we're going through a lot of trauma and stuff at the minute, it makes people go into survival mode, which means that there's less room for relationship. Because you're in survival mode, you're like, oh my God, I need money. I need to make money. How can I make? And that comes across in how you deal with your customers. And black people don't want to. Black people have been a commodity in this society for years, for hundreds of years under white supremacy. They don't want to feel like a commodity with other black businesses. They don't want to feel like a commodity in other black businesses. So stop treating your customers like a commodity. They're not a commodity. They're people. Okay, your black clients are people. They're not commodity. They're not your light bill. Okay, so stop just showing up when you want to make money and then buggering off when they don't, and then shaming black people for not spending money with you because you're a black business. Do the work. Do the work. Okay, invest in yourself. If you ain't got money, invest time until you get money. When you get money, invest money. Okay, do the work that you need to do in order to do that. So the 3 things that we need, okay, to have more unity in the community. Number 1, you need to do your inner work. So whether it's your therapist, whether it's a recovery meeting, whether it's doing a support group, or whether you're coming to my mastermind, okay, do the inner work. Do the inner work, okay. Number 2, check your circle. Who are you hanging out with at the moment? Are those people empowering you? Are they championing you? Or are they trying to shame you into not doing? Are they kind of, you know, pooing on your dreams, pooing on your aspirations and your goals? Be around people that are doing the work. Be around people that are that want to empower you, that want to champion you. Okay, it doesn't mean that you have to be mean to your old circle, but you need to be actively, intentionally looking for people, okay, that are doing this work, that are going to hold you through this process. Because, you know, this pandemic has been absolute hell for black people. Everything that's been the pandemic and all the Black Lives Matter, it's been horrendous. But there's also an amazing opportunity for you to get your ish together around your black business and serve. Okay? Serve. So check your circle. If you're interested in joining the mastermind, okay, with the sisters that I have, then you can click the link in the bio, go to heal.juneallen.net. That's heal.juneallen.net. That's heal.juneallen.net. And the final one is give back. Do service. Not if you're just starting, you shouldn't be giving back anything except to yourself. Okay? Giving back is only for those people that have already done a certain amount of work and already have some juice in their cup to give. Okay? Or whether the cup is over. The cup must be overflowing first before you give to anybody else. Okay? So so service, if you're just starting and you're depleted and whatever, service is actually doing the work yourself, because you can't serve until you've done your own work. Okay? Support black businesses if you can, but don't patronize people. Okay? Be honest with them. Patronize the businesses that you love. Share the hell out of those businesses. Tell people about those. If you love those businesses, tell your friends about those businesses. But the ones that could do with a little bit more work, they've got some ish to do. Okay, they've got some ish to do, and they need to grow. If they want the business, they have to work. They have to earn it. Okay, if black businesses want the money, they have to earn it. Listen, I have been doing this. I've been banging on about this stuff since 2006. I set up this platform. Since 2006, I set up this platform. So for the last few years, I've been consistent. I've been banging on about the same thing. Okay, and I'm only just starting to see the fruits of my labour, because I was willing to put in the work. I was willing to stay consistent, even when I wasn't earning any money. When it wasn't abundant, I was so passionate about serving the community and so passionate about doing the healing work. I just kept talking about the same thing. And now people are coming to me asking. My inbox says it's just abundant. My inbox is abundant because I stayed consistent and I kept doing the work, and I kept being compassionate to people, to my audience. I kept giving away stuff for free, okay, in serving the community. So you've got to think. You've got to think about, you know, what's the long-term goal? Not how can I get a coin to pay my bill tomorrow. What's the long-term goal? What's the purpose? What's the point of it? Okay, think about those things. I know it's difficult when we're in survival mode, but if you're in survival mode and you're struggling, get help. Get help, get support, because we need it. The community needs it. If you really want unity in the community, you got to start doing the work yourself. That is the operative main goal of what I'm saying today. You've got to do the work, okay? So if you found this live stream useful, helpful, and you know somebody else that you think might benefit from it, please share it with them, tag them, share it with them via email or whatever, okay? If you're interested in anything that I've shared today that you think might be useful, you click the link in the bio, go to heal.juneallen.net. That's heal.juneallen.net. That's heal.juneallen.net. If you've got any questions or anything about that I've shared today that you want more support about, you can send me a direct message or you can email me info@yardofgreatness.com. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I will see you next time. All right, take care. Have a wonderful day. Thanks. Bye. Take care.